Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you today. I've got to stick to 15 minutes because I've been told, and I'm not on $30,000 a minute, by the way, either. So, but look, I'll take the heat with the Surat Basin. You should probably understand where I have come from. I've been in local government 22 years, and the grey hair just didn't appear overnight. I'm also a farmer, and I have children too. But I'm also in the position now that my brother and myself have 4 children between us, and none of them will be coming back to our properties. I went into local government 22 years ago because somebody polluted my river. Just because my surname is Brown doesn't mean I have a green, I've got a fairly big green tinge in me. I'm also the landholder that has the very first commercial oil field in Australia at Mooney. And for 50 years, we have been farming around those oil wells. And 2 weeks ago, we harvested 5 tonne to the hectare of sorghum around those oil wells. Have been doing it for 50 years. Coexistence. Can it happen? Yes, it can. But it becomes a partnership between yourselves and the proponent. And there lies some of the issue ahead of us. The Surat Basin, I look after 38,000 square kilometres. Wherever you put your foot in my region, there will be coal underneath it, just at different depths. I look after 23 towns and 99 small communities. 21 of those 23 towns rely on underground water aquifers. We create $1.4 billion per year of agricultural farm gate equivalent. Very productive agricultural industry, but have a look at that figure up there. That's a B, it's not an M. You can see what is coming right at us right now. We have an accumulative effect of all the proponents of coal seam gas, coal, underground coal gasification, and the huge, ever-growing power stations in our region. Obviously, thermal coal, we pick it up very quick, very destructive, huge open cuts. Who wants to live next to that? Huge wealth to the country. Just to tell you about the wealth of the country, that's how much tonnes of thermal coal is beneath us. I look after about 85% of the Surat Basin. By 2015, we will be generating the vicinity of $8 billion a year to the state government of Queensland in royalties. But the big elephant in the room, and I saw a photo a while ago about a big elephant there somewhere, is the federal government. At the same time, we'll be generating $40 billion from my area. And I kick and squeal trying to get $1 million towards a road. You can see where the wealth is. Plus, I have an enormous agricultural sector. Coal mines. Since I've done this presentation, these other ones have been developed already. This is how quick that's coming at us. But have a look at these little black beauties coming from the side. These are our deposits that are in those mineral stages at the moment. You've got to remember, not all our land is prime agricultural land. I've spent particularly the last 4 years fighting to secure our prime agricultural land from development. And look, I'm sorry, I don't care if there's gold or diamonds underneath it. I don't want you to touch it. We've got to be able to feed and fuel our future, but we can do it responsibly. Wherever humans walk, we will have an impact. Do we get rid of humans? No. So we've got to minimise our impact. We have to be smarter how we do this. We are well aware that we need energy for our nation. The coal seam gas, it has been around for quite a while. A lot of these companies are in at least their 14th and 15th year of production of coal seam gas. There is an enormous amount of knowledge out there. Rick touched on the transparency that is required. It is crucial. The transparency from the companies, the proponents themselves, the transparency from our state and federal governments to make the information available. Because you have to remember it's our states that put the rules and regulations and policies in place. They're the ones that issue the permits, they're the ones that gets the royalties, They're the ones to make everybody held accountable and complied with. And we must hold them to that. This is what's happened in the last 6 months. We talked about wells today. There are some new wells at present. I have 2 of them in the Surat Basin, and there's 2 more on their boats on the way over. They can drill up to 400 metres per hour, but they're averaging about 180 metres per hour. These big new continuous feed wells, drill rigs. We know we're having a debate about how many wells will there be. You start to put that many straws in the ground, and in our case we're looking, and I'll say it, 36,000 wells across our region. You can see we're going to have an impact. Power stations, everyone wants these lights on in the aircon. We all enjoy it, don't we? I'm sorry, I don't want to go back to horse and carts. We have to have an impact, but we must minimise it. At present, I have 6 power stations, 1 coal, 5 coal seam gas. We approved in the last 6 months 5 new coal seam gas power stations. We have seen plans for 19 of these power stations because we're on the national grid feeding everyone else power. We talk about jobs. These are huge jobs across an agricultural sector. You can see how we're getting a nest. I don't know what you call a plural noun for power stations, but lots. The ones that are hidden are your value-added industries. There's an industry called underground coal gasification, because we have coal at all different depths. There are only 3 proponents in Queensland that have been given a demonstration licence. At the end of March, our state government will determine whether they will activate that into full operational. One of them you've probably heard a lot about, which is Cougar Energy, and the issues that we had at Kingaroy. Well, I have all the 3 tenements, are all in Surat Basin, and this is the one that's probably created a lot of this white hair that's here. You are burning coal at 1600 degrees underground. Very small land impact, but who's actually opening the lid to see what they're doing underneath? There's no door that we can open, look through a transparent window. But the potential of this, particularly to create diesel, but also to be able to create fertiliser, where we can produce nitrogen fertiliser from underground coal gasification, and some figures that have been bandied around are $62 per tonne. Now, for agricultural people in this room, me included, what would that do to our agricultural sector in Australia if we can produce fertiliser at $62 a tonne? We're going to use a lot more of it, create more productivity. Is it good? Sounds good for the agricultural person. What are the side effects? Because your contaminants are left underground. And there lies some of the issue. It is probably one of the greatest monsters in the making. Could be good, could be bad too. These are the new industries that are coming on board. The liquefied gas, the BOC Industries have already announced a $100 million project at Chinchilla for BOC. Would it not be great, instead of all the proponents exporting this stuff to Gladstone through all these trains, and I know that our country's broke and our state and federal government need money in the coffers, we know that, but why don't we just export 1/8 of it and keep the rest? Wouldn't it be a wonderful government if we turned around and said in the year 2017, every tractor, every truck, every train, every heavy vehicle in Australia will run off compressed coal seam gas? Wouldn't it be lovely to see every vehicle go that way? Brazil did it with ethanol. And wouldn't it be lovely to be able to stick the fingers up at the Middle East and say, we really don't give a damn about you lot. We'll do it ourselves. Don't we all win? Because we're going to have an impact from coal seam gas. But let's value add it for ourselves first. It'd be great to be able to see the coal seam gas wells coming out of what we farm around right now, be able to just plug it into our tractors. This would be great. That technology is happening as we speak. We have universities that are into their second and third tractors that are propelled by coal seam gas. Let's investigate it further. Let's use it ourselves before we give it away to overseas. These are the things that are associated with coal seam gas that people struggle with. We saw the pictures of the wellheads, but it's the roads, the pipelines and the power lines that run to these fields. These transmission lines are worth about $1 billion each. Each one of those blue stars or purple stars are substations worth $240 million each. The amount of jobs up there at the moment is absolutely horrendous. We talk about 13 per day. I think he's stealing that many from my workforce. I have 750 staff. I'm 50 short at the moment, have been for the last 4 years. We cannot replace them. Have a think what's happening to our agricultural sector up there. Anybody that knows how to turn on, operate a yellow piece of equipment has got a job in the mines. Guess where our agricultural people have got their experience from? Self-trained, they know how to do it. Last thing I want to see, which happened last year, is we had cotton pickers sitting idle because we had no one to drive them. Just having a harvest at the moment, enormous summer crop harvest in our region, where headers are sitting idle. Unemployment, about 1.8%. Even a blue-heeled dog can get a job in my region. So therefore, I get the social impacts where people come and they drive in their cars and they're sleeping in their cars in our parks and in their showgrounds and under the bridges, wherever, chasing jobs. So we have an enormous social impact. I come from a little rural community. I try to look after everybody. I do 100,000 kilometres a year in my own region, driving. And to see my greatest asset, which is my people, being affected this way, you can see we need to make some changes rapidly.